Hi everybody! In this tutorial I am going to show you how you can create a shot tracer for your golf videos for free without using a complicated or expensive software. In fact, I'm planning to show you 3 different methods in 3 different videos while I'm using only an old computer with Windows and a mid-range video editor software. If you are interested, please let me know, because without supportive feedback probably I'm not going to make the other 2 videos. I'm definitely not hunting for likes or subscribers, but I want to know if you are interested. You can always write a short comment if you want, or just simply push the like button. And with these feedbacks, you will help me to decide whether to continue or not. So thank you in advance. But before I go into the details of the first method, I would like to tell you why I think these techniques can be useful and how I got the idea to use them at the first place. So I like to play traditional golf, urban golf, cross golf, and I like to make videos about it. But because a golf video without tracing the shot is far less interesting, I try to use many of the available shot tracer applications. Most of them are made for smartphones, and I guess only this one is available for computers. The editing process on PC is much easier, so this would be the best option, but it costs you $89 for a year. If I compare it, for example, to the Cyberlink Power Director video editor that I'm using right now, the shot tracer costs 60% more. The Power Director is a nice and complex software with many features. It also has a free version, but even if you use the full version, it costs you only $55 for a year. If you don't want to pay that much, you can try, of course, one of the free applications available for smartphones. To be honest, I had really disappointing experiences with those, even if the one that I paid for. I tried many, but none of them worked properly for me. This is my personal experience, of course. Maybe you don't have similar ones using a different device, but I got always annoyed and sometimes took me hours to get the required result. And even if you don't have problems with running the application, you still need to transfer the files between the phone and the computer, causing quality issues, and it takes extra time. So I kept on searching, and I saw a video on YouTube that offers a nice solution using the DaVinci Resolve editor software with graphic animation. After I downloaded DaVinci, I realized that this is really something you need to learn how to use. This software is developed for professionals, just like the user interface, as you can see. Even if you have experience with other video editors, it still takes time, maybe too much time, to get familiar with all the necessary functions. Don't get me wrong, the software and the presented solution is really good, but only if you are already familiar with this software. But as I watched the guy in the tutorial following the ball frame by frame, point by point, I got a kind of original idea. What if I put dots on the screen somehow and just put them behind each other? They will show a line, right? And even if an average video editor doesn't have a graphic animation feature, we can still put dots on the screen in different ways. The options depend on which editor you use, of course, but definitely all these programs can work with a text box. This is why in this first video I will show you how to use a text box with a dot for tracing a ball. This method, just like any other methods, has the advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the video I will list these for you, by the way. For example, one is faster to work with, the other is more accurate, or its graphics suits more your taste. So remember to give me a supportive feedback, and then I will make you 2 more tutorials. After that you can choose which one is the ultimate solution for you. And now let's get started. So this is the user interface of the Power Director, what I'm using. We are in the media room right now. You can see the video what I already uploaded from my computer. This is what we are going to work with. I just grab and put it down here into the timeline. The look of the timeline is also pretty similar to the most of the other video editors. You can see here in the right up area the preview window, and everything what we are going to edit will show up here. So as a first step, I would like to find the impact frame, because this is the point where we need to start tracing the ball. I let the video run a little bit, and when I get in closer to this point, I use these small arrows to go 1 frame further or 1 frame back, and then I set up the playhead to the impact position. So now we know where we have to start tracing, and I go to the title room because, as you know already, we are going to use a text box for tracing. And I grab the very first, very simple title, and I drop it on the second track, just under the video. It's important to position it just after the playhead, because the playhead is by the impact frame, and we need to show up the title from this frame, right? So I adjust it to the playhead, and now the timing will be correct. As a next step, we have to edit the title because we need a dot instead of any kind of text in the box. So I can open the editor mode with a double click, or I just go to the edit button and push it, and I'm now in a simple edit mode. The Power Director has also an advanced one, but we don't need to use it yet. So here in the editing window, first you can see the text, what is already in the text box. Here lower you can choose from hundreds of letter types, but it's not important for us right now because we are going to use a dot, and the type of the dot really doesn't matter, but the size matters. So we can choose the right size. I'm going to choose 20 because I guess the 20 is the right size for the golf ball. And here you can choose a color. I would like to stay with the white because it's kind of golf ball look, but I'm going to make one small adjustment. I will add a border to the dot. So I go here and I click on the border option. Yeah, if you don't have this option with another editor, it doesn't really matter. I just like to use this small adjustment because if the ball flies front of the white sky or a cloud, for example, you can see here we will have a cloud. I don't know if the ball will reach that point or not, but the front of the white background, the ball is a little bit more visible if it has a border, and I don't want to use this strong red border color which is offered by the system. I change it for a smoother one, to the yellow one, and I guess this one will be perfect. So I just go back and I change the title, I delete the text, and I place a dot instead. As you can see in the preview window, we already have the text box here with a dot. I can grab it from the side and move it wherever I want. And since this is the first one, I will place it just over the ball, the front of the golf club, and from here we can start tracing. Now I go one frame further and I can see in the next frame the ball is flying here, and I need to create a new text box, and I place a new dot to the new position of the ball. If I want to save some time, I'm not going to create a brand new text box, because then I need to set up the shape, the color, etc., again. So if your editor let it happen, just copy the previous title. In Power Director, I need to go on the timeline, put the mouse on the title, right click, choose the copy, and now I have exactly the same title on the clipboard. So I will go with the mouse to the following track, which is number 3 in this case, and I will paste the title. As you can see, it looks exactly the same, the length is the same, but if I zoom on it a little bit, you can already see it will not start in the same moment like the previous one. Since we went one frame further, this one will show up by the next frame. We have to go to edit mode to be able to position it. So double click on it again. We are in the edit mode. And the reason why you don't see the new dot on the screen yet, because we copied the first title, and it means we copied all the attributes of it, including the shape, size, but also the position. So the second one is exactly on the first one. If I grab the box and move it, I will see there was another dot under it. And it will happen in the same way every time when we drop the new title on the next track. It will show up always above the first dot. So I have it, I move it, and I just place it exactly under the ball onto the line which is between the first and the second frame. It's so simple, it's done, and I just do it again. I go one frame further. I will go to the fourth track. I paste the title from the clipboard. I need to go to the edit mode again, double click on the title. I will see the text box. I grab it and I move it under the ball again. Okay, do it one more time. From frame further, go to the following track, number 5 this time, paste the title. With the double click, I go to the edit mode, then I can see the text box. I grab it and I place it to the next position. When you grab the text box, be careful where to grab it. You have to grab it always on the side. If you accidentally grab it in the corner and try to move it, you will resize the text box and you will have a completely different size dot what you need. And to get the original size, it's very complicated. So if you make this mistake, I suggest you don't try to resize it. Just delete the whole title, go to the title, right click, remove, and then just paste another one to the same location, and it will be the right size. And when you move it next time, just pay attention where to grab it. When you have this four-headed arrow, then you are at the right place, click on it and move it to the right position, just under the ball, like we always do. Yes. We go for the next one. And now we are in an interesting situation because we already moved the playhead one frame forward, but if you see in the preview window, the golf ball didn't move. It's still in the same position as it was in the previous frame. It has to do something with the frame rate of the video what we are using. It's not a problem, but sometimes even if you move one frame forward, the picture will not change. So in this case, just go another frame forward, the second one, and then you can see the ball is flying somewhere here. So this is the frame what we need to use for the next title. I go to the track, I paste title, and with a double click, I go to the edit mode and just drop the text box under the ball. Talking about the frame rate, if you want to check it, go back to the media room and with the right click on the video, go to the properties, and then you can see what is the frame rate of this video. This one is 25 frames per second, which is an average, I guess, or 30 maybe. If you have a video with approximately 30 frames per second, then it's really good if you go frame by frame and place a dot under the ball in every frame. If your frame rate is 60 or above it, then maybe you don't need to place a dot with each and every frame. You can jump 3, 4, 5 frames maybe, and then just place one dot on the screen and jump another 5 and another dot. Also good if you reach the highest point of the ball flight, you can skip some frames because then all the points where the ball is flying are so close to each other, it's not really necessary to mark all of them. So there are some situations when you don't need to stick to the one frame jumps. Okay, I put one more dot on the screen, and after that I speed up the process a little bit. So editing mode, grab the box on the side and place the dot under the ball again. Yep. And from now, actually you have nothing else to do but repeat these 3 steps again and again. Go one frame forward, paste the title to the timeline, go into edit mode and move the text box to the right position. In this way, the dots will trace the complete ball flight at the end. The way what I just showed you to create and position text boxes in Power Director might not be the fastest or the most efficient one, but my intention wasn't to show you the optimized method for this particular editor program, but to give you a general solution which can be used with several software. For example, I tested it also with Clipchamp, which is the basic online video editor offered by Microsoft for every Windows. I wouldn't suggest using Clipchamp since it's much easier to work with other free editor programs, but still, even that one can give the same result. Once the tracing is done, you can make some small adjustments if you want. You can reposition some dots if you are not satisfied with the position of it. I can move this one a little bit lower. I like it. This is a better position for it. And now at the end, we have one more thing to do. We have to set up the length of the effect. So I make this one a little bit smaller to make it more visible. And now I go to the beginning of the whole video and play it. And then I will choose a point where I want the line disappear. So it's falling, and now I think it's just enough. And if I decided I want to disappear the effect at this point, I mark this point with a timeline marker. Yes. And then one by one, I highlight the title, grab the end of it, and just pull it till the marker. Okay, it means that the first dot will disappear at this point. I will do the same with the second one and with the third one. And then one by one with every other, I'm gonna do the same. After everything has been set up, this is the result. But if you don't want all the dots to disappear in the same moment, and then this is what you need to do. Go to the title on the first one on the timeline. With a right click, you can go for setting duration, and then you can set up a new duration for the title. Maybe in a different editor you need to find a different way for that, but by Power Director this is the easiest way. So instead of 4 seconds and 23 frames, I will go for 1 second exactly, and okay. You see the title is already much shorter than it was. I go to the second one, right click, set duration, 1 second, 0 frames. Okay, and I'm keep on doing it with each and every title. Let me give you some advice at this point. If you choose this type of animation and you already know it at the beginning of the whole process, then you can save some time. Set up the 1 second or other required duration right after you started the editing by the very first title track. Since you will copy and paste that one again and again, all the titles will have the right length and you don't need to spend time later with adjusting like I'm doing it right now. Okay, now I set up the duration of every title, and it means every dot will disappear after 1 second. And as the result, we will get this nice animation. So this is the end result, which is pretty basic look, of course, but you can always do some fine-tuning applying your ideas. You can use different colors, you can increase the number of the dots, or for example, you can set up smaller and smaller dots, achieving a kind of 3D effect. So now, before I show you what kind of shot tracer you can create with the help of my next tutorial, first I summarize the requirements of this presented method and I show you a list of the advantages and disadvantages. So to use this method, you will need a video editor which can work with multiple text boxes and can work with at least 30-50 video or title tracks on the timeline. Good to know. Some editors, just like the Power Director, can use multiple text boxes in the same title. In this case, even one track on the timeline can be enough for that particular title. And actually these are all the requirements for this method, so we can list this already as the first and most important advantage. This brings us to the second point. This technique can also be used with lower category editor software like ClipJam, for example. The third is that no other program is needed. You can manage everything in the video editor. The fourth point is that the method traces the ball very accurately by its position. And number 5 is the accurate timing. And I would name only one disadvantage. During the process, many steps must be taken. That's why this is not the fastest way to trace a shot. I haven't mentioned the design of the line because I wouldn't call it either a pro or a con. It's a question of taste whether you like more this ball tracer look build up from dots or you prefer a continuous line. But if you do so, my next video is for you. If I get enough supportive feedback, I will teach you how to make a shot tracer like this one. Please let me know if you like this video and you are interested in the next one. Hopefully see you soon, and thank you for watching.